And welcome back to the Bells and Whistle Show. It's your boy Nando, and I have a very special guest in the building. It's former GB kickboxer and now turned boxer. Shannon Ryan's in the building.
Hello.
Welcome, Shannon.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Pleasure's all ours. For the listeners that don't know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself?
So, my name is Shannon Ryan. I'm 22, live in Watford. Used to kickbox, but now I box. Yeah, that's it.
So let's go back to your kickboxing days. What got you into that sport?
My dad got me into that sport. Yeah, he's like amazing. So basically, I was 5 years old. Got two older sisters, and he has his own kickboxing gym based in Bushy. But before that, he was like a painter and decorator, and obviously his inspiration was to have his own gym, teach people and things like that. So he started off with taekwondo, and then started to kickbox. So yeah, he's the one that got me into it from a young age.
Did your sisters get into it as well?
Yeah. So they one's 24 and one's 34, and they both done it as well. So it's a family thing.
Did your dad ever want to do that professionally, or was it just to own a gym and get that experience to teach others?
I think years ago it was quite different for him. I'm not sure why, he just never turned over. But in kickboxing it's very hard. It's just one, it's not in the Olympics, you can't really turn pro, hence why I've done the boxing now. But yeah, he just competed, he didn't turn pro.
Okay. So with your kickboxing, how did you progress in that? You were part of Team GB?
Yeah, so I started doing, so we've got different sections. As a child, when I was 13, I kind of started to do the adult sections because the challenge in the kids sections weren't great. So at 13, my dad just chucked me in the deep end, fought the adults, and won some of them sections. I used to do 50 kilos and 55. But yeah, I finished world number 1 2 years in a row as well. So yeah, I got to the highest level, and then you just fight the same people, so it just got repetitive.
How intense is the training in kickboxing?
Kickboxing is punching and kicking, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's different. Compared to the boxing, it's completely different fitness. I did the sport karate type kickboxing where you stop and start. So the movement that you do is mad. You're just moving all the time, which I brought that over to the boxing as well, because in the amateurs, it's working for me, getting in and out, moving, and no one knows where I am, to be honest. But yeah, the training was intense.
So, because I don't know much about kickboxing, does the women's side get much publicity compared to the men's side, especially when it comes to the GB part?
No, it's still male dominated.
Yeah.
However, the women's is obviously still coming up in the kickboxing, but in the section, so for example, you can fight for money as well, but the money was more greater in the men's divisions because there's more people. In the women's it was lower, only about 200, 300 pounds, but because there wasn't as many in that section.
So what was it like being part of Team GB? That must have been a great honour.
So it was, so when they say Team GB, it was like a different section. So you know, like you've got the GB boxing and the GB taekwondo.
Yeah.
It wasn't a part of that, like the lottery funding. It was its own separate GB team.
Okay.
But it was great. Like I did it as a junior. I didn't do it as an adult because it was called WACO, the association. But how it's done is they have a certain amount of coaches. My dad was never, years ago when I wanted to do it as a junior, he was never able to coach me. And the level of respect that I have for him is very high. So we always denied taking that place because he was never allowed to coach me. And then one year, in 2015, I won the Junior Europeans, and he got the place to coach, so that's why I went. Then the year after I was going to go as an adult, and they wouldn't let him coach, so
wow.
I denied that place due to the level of respect I have, because at the end of the day, he's the one that got me there. He knows how I fight, and I wouldn't want anyone else to coach me, so I didn't go.
Is this something that you might one day get back into, or are you happy at boxing now?
No, I'm very happy boxing now.
Yeah? Where's the difference?
The difference is you can get somewhere with it, and
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do since a young age. That's going through school and obviously my work now, boxing is my priority. Getting to that top level is my main priority right now. And kickboxing was never able to allow me to do that.
I never knew this story, but he became great because of that, because of starting ballet when he was 4 years old. His dad made him do ballet. It's a big thing in the Ukraine and Russia, and that helped him a lot.
Yeah, I love watching him. I watch his YouTube videos as well, just his training, and just so cool.
The training when they put the hat on and the ball is on a string, I've never seen anyone train with that better than him. It's just he doesn't mess up, not even once.
No.
It's so easy for him. It's unbelievable. And then he does other things that are just inhumane in the sense that you just don't think a human can do.
So I watched him at the O2 as well. I went there. I could have watched another 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Just didn't take my eyes off him.
It's incredible. Do you think there's anyone? Do you know anyone else in that division that can test him? Or do you think, for example, do you know Terence Crawford or even Errol Spence if he went up? I know he has said no, but
from my knowledge, I'm not 100% sure. But no, I think he will dominate it.
He would dominate it.
Yeah.
Back to Katie Taylor. It's amazing that she became two-weight world champion. Did you watch her fight?
I went to Manchester. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went up there, drove her in the day, watched her, and then drove back straight afterwards. And it was that's the first time I've seen her live as well. And she's just so fierce, just so hungry for it. It was amazing.
Did you see her fight when she was on the undercard, the AJ at Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, I saw that.
Controversial there?
I don't believe she won it.
I don't think anyone did, even Eddie Hearn as well.
Yeah, I don't believe she won it. Still a good fight, but I just think what she was doing was just too much. Too many punches and not actually thinking.
You know, we work with a lot of, a few knife crime campaigners. Do you believe sport is the future for kids to get off the street, away from knife or crime, even anyone that's suffering from mental health? Do you think it's a massive factor to help?
Yeah, I think it does help massively. Because, for example, when I'm training, I forget about everything, and it's just you're focusing on one thing. Everything else just goes out the window. You're not thinking of anything but that. And for me, for personal, when you're training, that's what you're doing. There's no, for me, I go out sometimes, but my main thing is training. I go to work, I go straight to training, then I'm home. I'm not out on the streets or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's a big thing.
Anyone that's been listening and thinks, you know what, I want to take up kickboxing and I want to be trained by Shannon's dad. Where's the gym? What's the name of it? How can they get in contact?
It's called Watford Freestyle. There's a website as well, watfordfreestylekickboxing.com. It's in Bushy, and it's amazing.
So anyone that wants to get down there, please do. Or they can even DM Shannon for information and even tickets for your box cup in Guildford.
Yeah.
So what's your Instagram?
My Instagram is Shannon Ryan XXX.
So let's go back to your days in taekwondo. Why don't you tell us about that?
So obviously I started out kickboxing first, and then it got to a point where I was just kind of fighting the same girls, winning the same tournaments, and obviously I travelled a lot with the kickboxing as well. So a few people that I knew were on the GB taekwondo team, and I just thought, you know what, I'm good enough to do that myself. So I contacted them, and they said, oh, come to the trials, but I couldn't make it because I had a maths exam. So they did a separate one for me, which I thought was really nice, and I'd done a one-day trial, got accepted. So I went to uni for 7 days, just on Freshers Week, and then I got the email to say that I can move to Manchester. So I moved up there, and the training was on another level. That was world class. However, I got an injury to my right hip, which made I had to have a steroid injection. So I had to get to 46 kilos, but that steroid injection interfered with my weight. So they dismissed me from the team. Then I went back to kickboxing, done the same thing over again, and I thought, no, I need to do something else. Because I'm good friends with Michael Page, I then contacted him, and he said, Shannon, just try the MMA, see if you like it. Went down to London Shoot Fighters, and the grappling just wasn't for me. That part, I just didn't get it. I didn't enjoy it. And when I do something, I've got to love it to stick at it. Then that's when I found the boxing, done a session, absolutely loved it, and I just wish I'd done it about 4 years ago.
So let's rewind of what you said. For the listeners that don't know the difference between taekwondo and kickboxing, how intense is the training, the difference?
Oh, on the GB team, that level was just another, I can't even explain it. It was just 10 out of 10. The training was so hard. Sometimes you'd cry, sometimes you'd be happy, but it was tough because you'd do 2 hours kicking in a day, then you do your weight session, and then you do another 2 hour kicking session. And because it was full contact, you had to kick hard as well. Whereas in kickboxing, I was only training 3 times a week, an hour and a half session. So the level that I went to was so different. But yeah, from the kickboxing to the taekwondo was a jump up.
So I read that, and I think you mentioned it before, that you were world #1 with your weight.
In my weight, yeah, 50 kilos.
What's that like? What's that hearing that you're world #1 in?
To know that you're the best in that weight is great. But that's when I take all credit to my dad because his coaching skills is just amazing.
Did you put it on your Facebook status? Did you get a tattoo about it? Did you get anything?
No, I put it up on my social media, but no, I didn't get a tattoo of it. I got some money for it, got €1,000 each time, which was nice, something different. But yeah, I didn't get a tattoo.
Listen, if I got told I was world #1 at radio presenting, listen, the whole world will have to know about it. I'll make my own belt, wear it around my waist everywhere I go, like a Coley does. There's I got another message as well for you. This is from Nick. He said, the show is sounding fire. Tell Shannon we have titles to win.
We have titles to win, together.
It's great that you have this good relationship with Nick and Jav. It's good that you feel comfortable with your coaches as well.
Yeah.
Is that any different from when you were doing kickboxing compared to those coaches? Apart from your dad, of course.
Yeah, so I have to gel with my coaches, and Coach G, when I first met him, we judged straight away, and he put so much time and effort into me. It's incredible because he has a family himself, he has his own life, and the amount of time he puts into me, I can't thank him enough. Nick and Zav, glad I met them because they support me as well, and they are great coaches.
That's fantastic. Let's go to the MMA. So you mentioned Michael Page, Mr. Venom himself.
Yeah.
What's he like? Is he, because listen, I watch Ballantor and he's a character. He reminds me of some next McGregor, the way he's on the mic, and is he like that in real life?
We've done the kickboxing as well, and he's like a brother to me, so our families are really close. I've known him from such a young age. But he's taken the kickboxing, the points fighting into the MMA. His movement is how he used to kickbox, and I've taken my movement into the boxing as well. So I'll hit and move. For 3 rounds, 3 minutes, it'll work. In the pros, it'll be different. I'll have to change it up a bit. But for now, it's working for me. But yeah, Michael Page, he's crazy.
You must be proud of how far he's gone.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Wow. It's phenomenal.
I always knew he was going to be a star.
That's good. And, what was it like when you first got in the boxing gym and met Nick, Jav, and
I was really nervous.
Yeah.
I get really nervous and shy. But a lot of people say, oh, you don't look like you're nervous and shy, but I do. But after that first session, I felt sick. And after a session, I never get like that. And I just thought, wow, this training is for me. Until now, I'm glad I made the move. Because the training, they watch you, they correct you, and the training is tough. And that's what you need. And I feel I've improved since I moved there, I've improved drastically.
Shannon, so being from Watford, I'm guessing you're an AJ fan.
Yes, I am.
So you obviously watched the first fight
With Ruiz?
with Ruiz.
Yeah.
Shocked?
Yeah, I thought he was going to do it. And as a lot of people have said, he didn't see himself. But I think this time, he's got it this time.
Have you seen videos of the stadium online?
Yeah, I saw it today. He put it up on his Instagram story. It's
Tiny,
amazing.
right? But it looks a bit small.
Yeah, but it looks nice. I think it looks nice.
Yeah? Do you think, because a lot of people say apart from whatever happened in the dressing room, it might have been he wasn't on home turf that he was used to. How do you think his confidence coming into this fight, being in a different environment, neutral environment, because obviously it's not America where there's lots of Ruiz fans. It's literally neutral, so you don't know who the fans are going to be rooting
Yeah,
for.
I think it's going to be better for him because when he was there on the last fight, he knows how it felt and things like that. I think this time he's going to feel a lot better. Obviously, he's been training hard and he wants it, you know.
You ever met AJ?
Yeah.
What's he like in person?
He's really nice. My elder sister knows him, so my family know him as well.
Oh, that's really good.
But yeah, he's very nice.
So, back to AJ. So, what's your prediction for this fight?
No, he's going to win it.
Win it? How's he going to win it?
He's going to knock him out.
What round? Because I know, knowing Jab, he's got his Sky Bet app open right now. Trying to
8
take
rounds.
notes.
Middle of the 8th round.
Middle of the 8th round. Jab, stick a 10 on that. Middle of the 8th round. Jab just said, see my girl has sense, mate. So Wilder last night, devastating. I just showed you the clip of the knockout.
Yeah, I didn't watch it because I worked today, but I'm going to catch up on it. But it's crazy. One punch can change everything.
It's crazy because I am a fan of Ortiz. You know, I had this debate with Jermaine that, you know, who's going to win. Obviously, you know, more people were leaning towards Wilder. Ortiz is old, this and that, but he's a great boxer. Technically, he lost a lot of weight for this fight.
Yeah,
I said to a lot of people that, in my opinion, that he lost the weight because he saw the way Fury fought him, and he wanted to fight him smart instead of going for that usual Ortiz knockout. He wants to actually, you know, outbox him, lose that weight, and maybe last the 12 rounds to win on points. It was working. It was working.
Yeah, I saw the highlights. He looked a lot better fighting him this time than last time.
He caught him with a few punches, with a few jabs. I had to watch this fight about 5 times today, and I realized that he got a bit excited, Ortiz. And when you watch the fight, remember, just watch when it gets past the 2nd minute. He hits Wilder with a jab. Wilder stumbles a little bit, and I think the crowd eggs him on.
Right.
And I think he got excited, and I think he turned off from the new Ortiz boxing smart to the old one. I think, let me just finish him off. That's when he let his guard down. One punch just finished it. Because if that lasted 12 rounds, I think I would have given the first round just to Wilder. Would have been 11-1, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it.
That would have opened the division in a different level with Ortiz one. But do you know what? As much as I say Wilder has fought nobodies, I've got to give him credit for what he's done. 43 fights, 1 draw, 42 victories, 42 knockouts. Probably one of the most hardest punches in the heavyweight division ever. Not being biased, obviously, from Watford. What would happen if it was Wilder versus AJ right now, seeing how it is?
Personally, I think AJ would win. But again, it's that one punch from Wilder that could change the whole thing. So if AJ does, when he does fight him eventually, he's got to be focused the whole time and bring his A game.
Are you a fan of Tyson Fury?
I think he boxes okay. I'm just not a fan of his style, to be honest.
So you think Wilder's going to win the rematch against Tyson Fury in February?
No, I think Fury will win. I think Fury will win again unless Wilder.
Finally, someone from IQ Boxing that is back in Fury.
But yeah, I don't like his style, but I just think unless Wilder gets a lucky punch, then that would change it.
Fan of Lomachenko, have you seen his buddy Usyk fight?
Yes, I'm a fan of him also.
Me as I'm
I
also.
went to watch the Tony Bellew fight as well.
Yeah? Amazing. What do you think of him in the heavyweight division? I know he's only had 1 fight, but do you think he can take this?
Do you know what? I think he's going to surprise people. I just think he's quite smart in what he does. But yeah, I think he's going to surprise some people.
You know, he's not fully trained by him, but he's had training sessions with Lomachenko's dad. You can tell he's been around Loma, the way he boxes. A lot of people have questioned has he got the punch of power from going cruiserweight to heavyweight? My answer is the likes of Evander Holyfield and the likes of David Haye can go to heavyweight and knock someone out. Why can't use it? He's not a small guy. He's not exactly a tiny guy, so why not? For me, Bells and Whistles started in February from our first show, and I've said it countless times. People are probably sick of hearing it. I think Usyk is going to be undisputed heavyweight champion, whether it's going to be 2020 or 2021. Jav's probably got his hands in his head thinking, what are you talking about? But I truly believe this man will take the division by storm. They're lining him up against Chisora possibly in February. Okay. How do you think that can go?
I think he'll win that fight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If you had a world title shot, and I ask this to every guest that we have on the show, if you could have one venue to have your world title, where would it be?
It'd probably be the O2.
The O2?
Yeah.
More than Wembley, more than...
Whatever, which is the biggest one?
Biggest stadium?
Yeah, London.
As much as I hate to admit it, probably either Wembley or Tottenham's new stadium.
Yeah, whichever one.
Which Jav is loving right now. So next year, after March, would you want to turn pro?
It depends where I am. I still got a lot to learn, but I learn really quick and I listen. I would, right now, I would probably go through the amateurs again, and probably wait till 2021 to decide what I'm going to do. Next year's I'm not going to turn pro next year.
Do you spar many women?
I have done more now. Now that I'm at a gym that's in England boxing, I can spar more girls. So I was off work, not last week, week before, and I got 19 rounds in that week. So that was really good. But yeah, now I'm sparring more girls now.
And obviously, how do you find the difference when you spar men and women?
I feel when I spar the boys, they hold back, and I'm not about that. Just fight me, and if you knock me out, you knock me out. If you hurt me, you hurt me, and if you...
But you know that's not going to happen. You know, like, no guy is going to go full force on you.
Yeah, I know, but they can give it a little bit, because I can take it.
I'm sure you can. But when it comes to the women, I'm sure they go full force, right?
Yeah, so when I've been sparring the boys at the gym, and then when I've done them rounds the other week, it was a lot different because they were actually fighting me, you know.
Anyone that wants to get into sport, kickboxing, taekwondo, MMA, boxing, what's your message?
I just think whatever you want to do in life, if you think that you're not going to get there, you can, because anything's possible. You just got to believe in it and you will achieve it, you know.
And a message for future opponents.
I want them all. They got to watch out for me.
You heard it here first, folks. Future world champion Shannon Ryan. Hopefully, future Olympian Shannon Ryan as well.
See you about that.